Good day, gentlemen. James Marshall here. Today, I want to cover the question of, can men and women actually be friends? Is there any point at all in having a female buddy, mate, or a pal? Or are women only good for two things? Sex and cooking. As the old saying goes, women can't live with them, can't fuck men. Am I right? Let's look into it. Alright, so one of my viewers wrote in, this is from David, he says, what do you guys think about having female platonic friends? A lot of the seduction guys are quite opposed to it, saying that men and women have no common interests and they just want to fuck them. But I think they're great for social circle game and social proof and sometimes talking about game. Plus, girlfriends of good friends are obviously in this category, and there are girls who lots of guys think are hot but don't think they're attractive enough. I think these make great female platonic friends. So, when I read this comment, my initial response was to kind of shake my head in disbelief. And I think any man out there who's ever had a close female friend would be listening to that kind of comment and going, what are you talking about? But I think it is important to address because, as David has said, there is a lot of ideas out there in the manosphere and the red pill movement and in the neo-seduction movement, which I would describe what's happening now, the post-game game. With lots of very reductive and simplistic and prescriptive ideas about the way men and women are and the way that you should interact with them. And I've come across these ideas before, that there's no point in interacting with women in any other capacity other than when you're trying to seduce them and when you're having sex with them. And I think that's wrong, extremely wrong. And I think it's incredibly detrimental to the mental and emotional well-being of men in general. So I want to put the case today about why it's good to have female friends. I can't believe I'm actually doing this, but I'm doing it. And yeah, we can look at it from the kind of Machiavellian perspective or the, let's say, tactical perspective that, yes, having women in your life other than the women that you're chasing will help you get other women because women go where women go. That's what they do. If there's women over there, then other women will probably go. And if there's women hanging out with a guy in some capacity, then there's more likely that other ones will go there as well. So yes, there is definitely tactical advantages to having female wingmen or female friends, but that's really just scratching the surface of the benefits of having women in your life. But before we get onto that, I would ask yourself the question, is it important to have friends at all? Because the statistics say that a lot of people are kind of giving up on friendship, especially for men and more especially for younger men. The number of close friends that they have has massively diminished since the 90s, right? Since the advent, obviously, of the internet and people being dispersed and atomized and sitting behind screens most of the time and not going to social clubs and not going to church dances and all that kind of stuff, that so many men don't have any close friends at all. I think it's about a quarter of millennials don't have any close friends. And for older guys, this can be a major problem as well. So the first thing I'd be asking yourself is, well, is it important to you to have friends? And if so, are you going to arbitrarily cut out 50% of the options on the planet of people that could be close friends with you? Because that's a big call. Because friends are really fucking important. And I see this more and more as I get older, that friends, and what I mean by that is really close people that you can actually rely on. I've had, 1,000 buddies in my life. I'm a person who's traveled the world and been social and been involved in all sorts of huge social circles. But most of those people weren't really friends. They were acquaintances. They were people I hung out with, people maybe I felt fondly of, people I did business with, fans, dudes that I met at some kind of event and we had a good time and then moved on with our lives. But I can count on, let's say, several hands the number of really close people that I have that have endured, that have stood the test of time and of being tested to see if they're actually really loyal friends, and vice versa, of course, for me as well. And I can absolutely attest that, if I didn't have those kinds of support structures in my life, then I would be completely adrift. I wouldn't have people that I could go to for advice to deal with the hardships and the tragedy of being a human being, right? Because unless you have one of those huge Italian families where everyone's in each other's business all the time, or whatever other cultural variation that you have, your friends are going to be the people. They are your tribe members. They are the people that you can rely on, that you can have fun with, that you can connect with, that you can share the highs and the lows of life. And if they're of your cohort, somewhere within your age range, although I think it's important to have people in your life of various ages, but life is pretty long for most people, and you're going to want friends that are there with you through the decades. They are, to some extent, a repository of your life as well. All of the memories, all the shared experiences, all that, the in-jokes, the different types of language that you use, the events and moments and tragedies and powerful, fun things that have gone on in your life. You are each other's repository of those things. And I see this like a lot with kind of hustle bros and people who are really aiming to optimize all areas of their life, is that they start to see human beings purely as utilities. How can I use this person? Or maybe, how can I collaborate with them so that I'm using them and they're using me? What can I get from them? What are the benefits and what are the measurable metrics that I can take out of this relationship? And if they don't stack up, right, because it's like this person's not making me money or getting me pussy, then turf them out of your life. And that's a really dangerous thing to do, because it will mean that, okay, possibly maybe you'll make more money, or maybe you'll be more efficient with your workouts or something. But more likely what it's going to mean is that you're lonely and that you're boring and bored, right? Because you don't become a fascinating, charismatic, interesting person by being by yourself and just working on your online business, or just hustling all the time, or viewing people in this manner. Those people that are really powerful, that have an amazing effect on people, that other people want to be around, are the ones that are warm and caring and interested in things other than themselves and their own bank accounts. So it is really vital that you cultivate friendships, and they take work and they take maintenance. Just hanging out with someone doesn't make them your friend. Being in, a social circle where there's other dudes doesn't make them your friends. It's, can I call them up and will they come at the drop of a hat to help me when I really need it? Are these people that I can build a life together with, that I can share my darkest secrets, that I can trust, that are loyal to the grave? And for better or worse, there won't be that many people that fit into those categories in your life. I'm a relatively introverted person. I don't particularly like just hanging out with lots and lots of people for the hell of it. Some people do. Some people get their energy and nourishment from that. But for us introverts, which most of the guys that come to my channel and come to my courses are, perhaps we're more, let's say, choosy about who and when we spend time with people. But it's really important that we do, because otherwise, I don't know of anyone who's immune to being lonely, really. There are very few people who are designed to be hermits. And so, okay, do you need friends at all? I would say the answer is absolutely yes. And so therefore, we segue into why and is it important to have women as part of this group. So in the question posted by my viewer, he said, men and women have no common interests and men only want to fuck women. Right? So that's the meeting point that we have, except for your mother and your sisters, right? It's so easy to debunk. Obviously, is it obvious that all sorts of women have all sorts of interests that can have crossover, and absolutely do have crossover with men's interests? I guess the assumption here, if I'm trying to steelman it, is that women, capital W, are only interested in what? Fashion, fucking drama, TikTok. What else do girls like? Makeup, bad TV shows about runway models or something. I don't know. So, the idea that, okay, there's these female interests and there's male interests, and never the twain shall meet. Now, I've met thousands of women out on the streets and in my not here on the farm, there's none here, but in my life I've met thousands, and especially doing cold approach, I've come across plenty of women who don't seem to have any interests that I'm interested in, for sure. But I also have close female friends who are anthropologists and scientists and business people and artists and dancers and deep thinkers and deep emotional feelers, who are sexual freaks and deviants, who are analytical, who dwarf my intelligence and can run rings around me, who are mathematicians. It's ridiculous to perceive that I'm struggling to even get the words out, to have this attitude that there's no interest that would be common. Pretty much everything that a dude might be interested in, there'll be women who are interested in it. Yeah, there'll be certain interests where there'll be less. Okay, so, you know, Dungeons and Dragons or video games or whatever, but there's plenty of female gamers now. Dungeons and Dragons was the thing in the 80s. That no one does that anymore, men or women, and if they do, it's a retro thing, and probably it's hipster chicks and dudes doing it anyway. So it's ridiculous to perceive that, okay, that there's no common ground and no common interests. It's more about finding your type of people. All right, so if you have particular interests, viewpoints or political views or spiritual views or whatever, and you're not connecting with women on those, then you're just not finding the right types of women. You need to adjust and move into a different type of social circle, and you'll find women who have correlating interests. Now, I have plenty of female friends, and I definitely have more close female friends than I do male friends, I'd say. It'd be something like, 10 chicks and 5 to 8 dudes that I consider my ride or die people. It's mostly women. There is advantages and disadvantages to being friends with men and women. Some disadvantages of being friends with men is that they can betray each other more commonly than a man and women are going to betray each other. Why is that? Because often they're collaborating and they're working together on something, and so there is something at stake, right? Whether that's on a business level or chasing women or building a social circle or whatever. So they become resources and things that are at stake, and then certain type of human nature can kick in, and people can fuck each other over. And I've mostly seen that between men and men, as opposed to with female to male friends. A disadvantage of having female friends is that if they get a boyfriend or a husband, then they may vanish out of your life forever because the boyfriend doesn't, or the partner doesn't want you hanging out with their hot partner because they don't trust you. Hey, look at me. You think I need to fuck your wife? No, I've got plenty of chicks I can bang. She's my female friend. She's very important to me. So, there can be a lifespan in those terms. And, of course, there is the type of friendship, which is the friend-zoned man. But this is not a friendship at all. All right, so, and this might be kind of an objection that guys would have to this whole thing, is it's like you've been put in the friend zone and then the girl uses you for stuff. Now, that is a dynamic that exists, absolutely. There's types of relationships out there where there's a simping kind of guy of some degree who is hanging around a woman, not really because he wants to be her friend, but because he's trying to bide his time in an ineffective way to try and get what he actually wants, which is romance and sex. And the woman is allowing him to stay in her life because it suits her, right? Because she benefits in some kind of way. Maybe she benefits materially, or maybe she just likes having a guy that she can order around, or that she can whinge to about the chads that she's having trouble with or whatever. Or he drives her places, or whatever benefit she gets, or she just feels like a queen having lots of orbiters hanging around her. Yeah, there are women like that, and there are women who do that. And that is not a dynamic that you ever want to be in. That's a totally unwinnable dynamic. You're never going to get the girl romantically, and she's not actually your friend. In the same way that if you had a male friend who only allowed you in his life because he was using you for something, then you would hopefully perceive that is a one-way relationship. It's toxic and it's not useful to you, and you would get the fuck out of it. So, regardless of gender, yes, there are, negative aspects to male-female, male-male, female-female dynamics out there, and you need to be clear about what are your boundaries and what do you expect and what are you going to give in any given relationship. Having said that, having a good female friend is extraordinarily nourishing, because being around the feminine is nourishing to the masculine and vice versa. And that we're talking about positive versions of that. There is toxic femininity, there is toxic masculinity, and there is toxic every gradient in between. There are people who are toxic to each other. There are people who use and abuse and take, and are narcissists and have borderline personality disorder and are just fucking cunts. And then there are really good people. People who want to be good to each other. And if you find women who are good people to you, at the very least, then you will be nourished by having them in your life. For most men, we need to have the feminine in our life. And what is the feminine? The feminine it's not even necessarily related to genitals, but it's an ability, or it's an experience of sensitivity, of flow, of creativity, of a soft type of presence. Right? And it's the woman herself. When I'm hanging around with my female friends, typically I get a different experience of life. It might be more about music and food and laughter and talking about feelings, although it's, that's also pretty reductive to think that, women are completely emotional and men are rational, though that's not true at all. I mean, it's a truism that's thrown around a lot. We're all completely emotional, really. Like, we have the ability to rationalize things and nut through problems. Both men and women can do those types of things. But we make most of our decisions based on emotional responses. The last thing that you bought, or place that you went, or person you shouted at, or a chick that you chased, wasn't based on a robotic, logical analysis. It was based on feelings that I wanted something, that I didn't want something, that I was compelled to, that I was inspired to. These are all emotional responses. It's just that men and women may be socialized and taught to explore and experience these differently, or given permission to express them at all. There are plenty of men who are stilted emotionally. They're just not very adept with their emotions. They've had to repress them for various reasons. And a lot of the time, women are given more permission to explore and express their emotions. So, when I'm having hard times, when I'm in that kind of stuck but stoic thing, which a lot of guys will experience, where it's like, I feel nothing, but I feel something, and I want to say something I need to express, but I don't know what to do, and I'm fine, but I'm not fine. And then I talk to a buddy of mine, and I'm like, how you doing? Yeah, good. How are you? Yeah, good. I mean, depends on the guy. If I was talking to Gareth, I'd be like, Gareth, let's have a deep philosophical conversation, and I'd like you to explain to me how to tie a bow tie. And if it was Sasha, I'd be talking to him about, dude, it's not the reptilian lizards. Yep, if they were going to put it in the spray in the sky, like, that's not an effective way to poison it. You could just put it in corn chips, put it in Dorito, and we'd have all sorts of conversations depending on the type of person. But particularly when I need to try and express myself emotionally, especially if I'm having a hard time, which I do from time to time, then I'll talk to female friends, and they will probe and ask questions in ways and open and hold a space for me in a way that often men are less capable of doing. And I have permission, without any shame, without needing to appear strong or to play the game or be a baller or whatever, to let go and break down if I need to. Right? It's a really healthy thing to be able to express emotion, to be able to cry, to be able to let out or release your softness. And there'd be plenty of coaches and thinkers out there who would say that that's absolute pussy shit, which is unfortunate, because it's an old idea, and it's a resilient idea that men just need to be tough. And then what happens if men don't get to express other sides of their emotions is that it comes out in usually pretty bad ways, in alcoholism, in violence, in moods, in just being a grumpy cunt for your entire life. And then eventually, treating your children coldly and your wife badly, and then on your deathbed trying to make up all of it by crying, oh, sorry, son, I should have tried to have I told you I was proud. It's too late, I'm dead. So a really, really important reason why you should have women in your life is that you get to explore and express the feminine. That's not gay stuff. That's not you being a pussy. It's that you're a multifaceted human being, and you should be exploring that. And it's really easy and fun and comforting to do that with a woman who's got your back. Now, we've done all that, like, touchy-feely stuff. Let's get on to, like, okay, yeah, sure, James, but how do you get pussy out of, if we're going to do this thing with the chicks, with the friends, and, being the friends, I'm going to spend, how much time? Now, how am I going to get some pussy out of this? Come on, let's look at it. All right, fine. What are the advantages in terms of your love life, seduction life, and sex life of having female friends? Many. As I said before, women go where women go, as the old saying goes. I've gotten laid many times because I had female friends who helped me get laid. I was thinking about this when I was, pondering this video momentarily, and I remember a time there was a house party at my house. There was a hot girl that I'd never met before. I went over and had a bit of a chat with her, and then my close female friend, whose name I won't repeat, went and spoke to this girl, And then shortly after, I went over and I said a few other things, and then I said, hey, come with me, and the chick just came with me, and without any hesitation, we went into my room, we had sex, and I was like, my game is so tight. I'm such good at this seduction shit. Fuck yeah, I got this shit. And the next day I was talking with my female friend, and she was like, so how did you enjoy your night last night with Sarah? It's not Sarah. With Sarah, I'm like, oh, it was fucking awesome, blah, blah, blah. And she said, yeah, cool, well, you can, next time you can help me get laid. I was like, what are you talking about? And she said, oh, I had a chat with her. And she said to this lady, oh, you've been talking with James? Yeah. You like him? I think so. Well, I'll tell you what, you should have sex with him tonight because he's a really good fuck and he'll make sure you get home safe. And so she did. Which is actually like a genius, like it just ties into an understanding of female psychology really, really well. This woman understood women really well, which was the referral, right? Which is that the sex is going to be good, which is a big reason why women often won't have one of the reasons why women won't have one-night stands is because on average, one-night stands are shit sex for women because most men aren't particularly good in bed and they're going to be at their worst when it's the first night. And so going through all the rigmarole of undressing and having a stranger's penis inside you and then dealing with the walk of shame and whatever, or the danger of what can possibly happen, it's just not usually worth it. And so women will often fuck by referral, believe it or not. And then the second part of that, which was genius, was her saying, and he'll make sure that you get home safe, which I did, even though she didn't even tell me to. I did, right? So it was about safety, good sex. Okay, that's and, this alpha female who's in the social circle has given like a good fucking Uber rating, sex Uber rating for me, and so I got to have sex, and it wasn't because my game was fine. The rest was her, and I've had like dozens of experiences like that throughout my life where I have female friends, and they're not like, you have to think of this if you want to have like this idea that, okay, we can have the female, what did he say? That they're good for talking about game. Like, no woman wants to just talk to you about game and give you female secrets, like, for no particular reason. That will be one of the things that we'll be discussing and enjoying as part of our friendship, is that, yes, we're going to be talking about social dynamics and who's dating and what's this guy you're chasing, what's this girl you're chasing, and how, oh, yeah, here's my opinion on that and so on. Yes, it's going to be part of the friendship. So trying to think of like, okay, okay, fine. We'll get the female friend in order to get laid more. If you view it like that, what kind of woman's going to want to be around? She's not going to want to be around that. Like, she doesn't get anything out of that. If it's just like she's just being used as a kind of resource for seduction, unless you're paying her in some kind of entourage, what do they call those, image model situation, which is a thing. Hiring girls to like hang out with you to make you look cool, so other girls might make you think you look cool, which can work. I've seen it work, and I've also seen it being incredibly cringe, especially in expensive nightclubs in LA and New York, with dudes with a bunch of like obviously paid and obviously extraordinarily bored models sitting at the table with this guy as he's doing the like popping bottles thing, and then goes over to another table and says, "Hey, why don't you ladies come over and join me at this table?" And it doesn't work, and he just pays lots of money. But having a mixed social circle, particularly, yes, if their girls are attractive, they don't have to be models. It's probably better they're not, actually, because then they're a bit intimidating to other women. Having sexy, fun ladies in your entourage, yeah, that makes it something that is a inviting prospect to other women, because it looks fun over there. That's where she wants to be, where the fun is. So this is going to be a symptom of you having actual friends. They're like, fuck, I have to actually have a real friend. Yes, if you have real female friends, then it'll be easier to get laid. The other reason why that is that, especially for guys that don't have a lot of face time with women, right? Okay, maybe they've been brought up with and live in social circles that are completely men. They work as engineers and they play video games and they go and do CrossFit, and they don't have interaction with women particularly at all outside of, okay, the girlfriend of their friend that they're kind of polite to and have a surface level interaction with. I've met many clients who are in that situation. They have a small social circle to begin with, and there's no women in it, or if they are, they're not close to them. So the hardest way to learn about women, and if you want to be a good seducer, you have to understand women, right? It's actually not about having good game. It's not about good game, because it's a ridiculous concept. I will get good seduction skills that I then go and launch at or apply onto women. And then I say these things and I do these things, and then I'll have sex with them somehow. You're missing a very major part of that, which is that there's a human being on the other side of this mad game, and that you need to actually understand her, empathize with her, and connect with her on a human level. It's a different type of human level than you connect with a bro or a sis, but it's a human level. So, like all men that I know that are really good with women, there are some kind of flashy game hustlers who can possibly get away with just having mad skills within a certain scenario. Okay, so like hierarchy game or money game, things where there's not really anything human going on, where it's really about bling and flashiness and drugs and money and whatever. Yeah, maybe, but none of us are that. You don't want to be that. Trust me, I've seen it. I've been amongst that, and it's ugly. It's ugly. So the reality is that the guys that I know that are incredible seducers understand women. Like, they understand what they're afraid of, what they desire, what triggers them. And, it's going to be different for different women, but there are feminine aspects. And the hardest way to learn about that is by cold approaching, right? Like, you're a guy that doesn't talk to women or doesn't have women in your life in general, or not many, not enough. And you're like, cool, I want to improve my dating life. I want to get mad skills, and I want to get hot chicks in sex, in the bed. What am I going to do? Okay, well, what are you going to do is you're going to come and learn from me by joining me on my next 4-day residential. That was a decent marketing segue. I knew I had to put it in there somewhere. So my next workshop's coming up on the 20th to the 23rd of June in Budapest, Hungary. There is only 2 spots left, and I'm only doing 3 workshops this year. So it's one of the rare chances that you have to work with me personally, to go around the streets and do many approaches, and I listen in, as do my coaches, on hidden microphones creepily in the corner, and then give you razor-sharp fine-tuning and feedback so that every approach leads to better results. Plus, you get to role-play with our assistants. So we have a group of sexy and creative women that we practice conversation skills with. Plus, we work on your inner game, your worthiness, your lifestyle design, and so much more. This is the world's best in-field inner game and seduction workshop that exists, without a doubt. We've been doing this for over 15 years. So if you want to find out about it, click the link below, get on a call with us. It's obligation-free. You can have a chat, and we'll give you some free advice, because that's the way it works. Bit of give, bit of take. And hope to see you in Budapest in June. So with that being said, the sun's like lowering and dappling me, isn't it? It's probably, Adam won't be happy with that, because he's like, you either got to go full sun or full shade. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing dappled sunlight, which I think looks cool, but probably makes me look like I've got leprosy. I don't. It's cured. Right, so the hardest way to do that is to go and cold approach women, right? If that's your only contact with women, is that you're just going up to them and just trying to pick them up, then, okay, you will be learning about women, but in the most kind of intense and stressful container that you could have, which is you trying to go and stop a stranger in some capacity and get her to give you her phone number and see you again. It can be done. It's done all the time, right? And cold approach is a way to vastly accelerate the amount of FaceTime that you have with women, and of course your probabilities of getting women romantically. But if that's the only time that you're spending time with women, then it's not actually effective. Having close female friends that you can hang out with, that you don't feel stressed about, that you're not trying to pick up, and remember that, like, you're not trying to pick up your female friends. You can try at the beginning, and then that can not work out, and then I'll deal with that in a moment. But there shouldn't really be any sexual tension anymore. You guys should be actual friends. Like, that's how I kind of initially got good at this, is because I was a dork, and girls weren't interested in me sexually. I was friend zoned, but they were real friends. I had a bunch of good female friends kind of all throughout my life since primary school, and I learned to become really comfortable around women. Now, it didn't mean that I became seductive, right? But once I learned the other side of this, which is, okay, projection of sexual intent and going for what I wanted and expressing masculinity and being able to challenge women and all that, once I started going for it, my results skyrocketed extremely quickly, within months actually, because I already had this powerful foundation of, like, I understand what it's like to be around girls. I'm not scared of hot women. I know what to talk to them about. I feel comfortable in their presence and I enjoy it. And that's another, aspect of the great seducer is that he enjoys time with women. Not all women. I've been with women where I'm like, I'm not enjoying this. I'm leaving. I'm out of here. But I enjoy the feminine. All right, I enjoy spending time in doing all sorts of stuff, and not just shopping for the shopping. Going for hikes and having deep philosophical conversations and pulling off awesome parties and collaborating on business stuff and going for walks and all of the things that you can do with a human, you can do with women. But there is this aspect of it, of being around the feminine, that's really powerful. And you have to get used to that and feel comfortable in it if you want women to feel comfortable with you. So, from a tactical position, yes, being seen out. Okay, you're going out to social events or whatever, you have a party and there's 8 dudes and no chicks and a couple of girls arrive, they're going to be like, okay, we're out of here because this is not the kind of gangbang we're looking for. Whereas, throughout my life, I've often had, there's been like one girl that was part of our inner circle crew, Virag, Jess Daly, several others over the years who I'm still close with. And we'll roll out 3 dudes and 1 sexy and fun girl. And that made all the difference, right? Because women would see, okay, that's a crew. And they got it's kind of like the Black Eyed Peas or something, where you got one hot girl within there, at least. And then, going and pulling other girls into those social scenarios. And if she is a good wing girl and if she, is willing to assist, which she should be if you're good mates, as you would assist her. I've helped my female friends get laid for sure, and get married, actually. I've helped them to, get the guy. Then yes, it's going to be massively advantageous. However, the point that I wanted to make earlier was that if there is unresolved sexual tension or sexual interest on one side, then it's not a friendship, right? And this is the common friend zone thing of the guy that's interested in the girl and is hanging around her or with her, hoping that something is going to happen. So it is really important that you understand, is there a sexual dynamic at all? Because one of the best ways to make female friends is to have sex with them first, right? So a lot of my, not all, but a lot of my close female friends, we were lovers initially. And because I was honest, or she was honest, and at some point we decided that wasn't working, but we could see that we were actually really suited as people, right? Okay, maybe it wasn't going to work long term as a relationship, but we were bros more than we were lovers. Then that is a good way to transition. So, guys ask me, how do I make female friends? Well, one of the ways is to have sex with a whole bunch of women, and then when you find a woman that you're far more compatible as people than you are as lovers, and there's usually a vibe of that where it's like you were into each other enough to hook up, but it's clear no one's going to fall in love. Then transition and make that clear, right? So I've done that before where we slept together once or twice, and then I've said to the girl, hey, listen, I think we should stop fucking because I really like you as a friend. And I'm not saying that as a blow-off. Like, I think you're fucking cool. And I want to hang out with you. And I don't want us to, ruin that by us fucking and then getting annoyed at each other. So can we just stop having sex and start being real friends? And that's a really refreshingly honest thing for a woman to hear. And, of course, someone's feelings could get hurt. If a woman said that to you, you might be like, no, it's either sex or nothing. But, I've had women friend zone me. I've been friend zoned by women, and in the positive sense, right? Of like, okay, let's end this sexual thing, or it just kind of fizzled out. And then, I've called the girl up and said, hey, I want to hang out with you, no sex though, right? And made that clear, because often women will be suspicious of a guy who's offering something that's not sex, or asking for something that's not sex. And so by being blunt and clear about it, and then going about and doing only friend things, then that can be a really good way to start, relationships with women that are not sexual, by having sex first. You can also tie this in with your cold approach. So when I've moved to new cities, when I'm cold approaching, I'm not only looking for lovers. In fact, I'm sometimes more looking for friends than I am for lovers, because lovers I can get fairly easily, but getting friends can be harder, actually, once you're good at seduction. And so, going and meeting girls on the street or wherever, and then finding out that they are in a relationship, and then you ask them, and a serious one, you ask them, what's your boyfriend like? And they she tells you and he sounds cool, then you say, listen, I'm new in town. I'm actually looking for friends. So can I come hang out sometime? Right? Like I've done that multiple times and ended up getting embedded into social circles because I was, yeah, sure, initially I was interested in the girl or showing sexual interest, and then I gentlemanly shut that off and then moved into something else. I'm a cool and interesting person. They invite me into their social circle. And then, again, girls go where girls go, right? So if she introduces me and I'm respectful to her partner, and then I become part of their social circle, then I'm more likely to get sex referrals anyway because I'm new blood that's being introduced into a social circle. Most women still hook up from within their social circle. So if you can embed yourself into multiple different ones as the new dick in the room, that is often a very attractive prospect because most social circles are pretty static. And so when a new person comes in who is introduced in or is given permission to by some kind of gatekeeper, then yeah, that person can be like high on the list of options for girls within the group. So in conclusion, yes, there are absolutely tactical advantages to having female friends, right? You may get sex referrals, you get plenty of FaceTime, you get experience with being with women in general, feeling comfortable with them. If you started out as in a sexual relationship and you were good at it, if not, see the Master Lover Method, relaunching soon, the world's most amazing online sex school by me, or come and do the live course. It's expensive and sexy and fun, and you get to actually practice with real life models. That's happening in September. But if you're good, give the lady a good time and you make sure that she gets home safe, and then you become mates with this girl, she remembers that and she knows, oh yeah, James is reliable, good dick. If I know a friend who's horny and is looking for someone and doesn't want to do a Tinder hookup, then I will refer him. It happens. It happens way more than you think. It just happens on the down low because it's not being, shouted from the rooftops. These are the quiet things that women definitely do. They know a guy that they had a good sexual experience with and they're not emotionally attached to him, then they will pass him around. It happens a lot. All right, anyway, that's way longer than I thought. I'd have to explain why it's important to have female friends. We need friends. It's really important to have them. Don't just focus on money and muscles and Maseratis and whatever the other M is, because one day you'll be lonely. If at best you'll be lonely and rich, and at worst you'll just be like, I just average. I just like everyone else, but I don't have any close friends, and you'll be miserable. So don't cut out half the world's population out of that potential pool. And I challenge you to go out there and make yourself a female friend, and you may be surprised. They're lovely. You'll love it. All right, that's enough for me. James Marshall signing out from this impromptu farm chat. I'm just sitting in my field because I'm like, this is nice. It's nice to do this here. I think I'll do more of these outside over the summer. Once again, if you're interested in training with me, coming up June 20th till the 23rd in Budapest, Hungary, with myself, Shay Matthews, and a very special guest coach whose name I can't say, but people who've been around for a long time will know who it is, and it's very special. He's going to be there. 2 spots left, so if you want to find out about that, click the link, get on a call with a real one of us. It's one of us. Have a chat, see if you want to do it. All right, see you next time. Peace.